Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I'm out at Heroes Park today and I have DJI's newest little drone, the Mini 4K, or as in my case, I call it the Ron Mini 4K, named after my friend Ron Brown. However, what are we here for today? Well, a lot of people, and you may very well be one of them, just bought this drone and it's your first drone ever, and you're wondering about that feature called Return to Home, or RTH as I'll refer to it many times throughout this video. I guess what I'm going to show you is you don't need to be afraid of losing your drone. Your drone always wants to come home. So let me just outline what we're going to do in this video. First, I'm going to show you standard return to home. In other words, if you just hit that button, how does the drone come back to you? And there's a couple of little features there that I need to show you, depending on the distance the drone is away from your takeoff point. We also want to talk about recording that home point. It's something that you're going to want to look for on the app every time you fly the drone. And then I'm going to show you how you can change the home point. You can tell the app to use your controller location as a home point, or you can also just change the home point to some place that you pick on the map. Otherwise, it's going to land relatively close to where you took off from. And then also, I'm going to show you what you would call emergency return to home. In other words, you lost connection somehow. Let's say the battery died on your controller, or you just flew it out of range, etc. And then I'll also show you low battery return to home. The app has an algorithm in it that calculates how much battery power it needs to take to return to its home point. And there, of course, there's a safety cushion built in there, but the drone will automatically begin returning home if you get low on battery. Yeah, let's quit messing around. Let's get this drone in the air and take a look at return to home with your DJI Mini 4K. Okay, I've got the app all fired up and screen recorder started, so you can see the drone on the pad there. Tell in the top right hand corner, you can see the little pictogram of a satellite. It's got 20 satellites and it tells us takeoff is permitted. And once we take off, it will tell us that it found its home point. I always look at the safety menu before I fly, check my altitude and distances, etc. You can see I've got my return to home altitude set at 35 meters. Now, you can set that however you want. Always make sure that you set it to clear any obstacles in your area. In other words, if you know there's a building that's 100 feet high, set it over 100 feet, or that'd be about 33 meters or something like that, 30 meters high or something like that. In this case, I've got it set at 35 meters. I know there's no buildings, no trees around here that are any higher than that, so that when the drone goes into return to home, it can clear them all. I guess I'll give you an example. If you were up in the mountains or something, you might want to go higher. And it's just this slider right here. You can slide that up. As you can see, I pushed it up to 95 there. I'm going to drop it back down to the 35 where we started at. And you're going to see update home point. We're going to look at that later, but I always check to make sure if the drone is asking for any calibrations. It's not. IMU is normal and compass is normal. And I look at the battery. Battery looks good in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and begin recording. We're shooting in 4K 30 frames per second. Although we may not, well, I'm going to start recording anyway so that we have it if we want it. I was going to say we may not need it. It'd be better just to show you the screen recording that I'm doing. But let's start recording. And yeah, nothing to do but take off. I'm going to do an automated takeoff this time. I'm going to click on that up arrow on the left-hand side of the screen. Hold down the button. It's all green now. As soon as I let go, the drone will take off. And there you see the little drone in the air. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you is, let's go up a ways and fly the drone out a little ways. Grab some altitude. And you can see on the distance meter there, well, let's go out a little more. Let's go, I make sure I'm above these trees. But let's go out. Okay, we're out 13 meters right now, lucky 13. What happens if I hit return to home at that height? I'm going to hit return to home. Let's do it on the app. I'm going to touch on that very far left side, the H and the arrow there. Touch that, and all it's going to do is give me the opportunity to land. It is not going to go into return to home because it's less than 20 meters high. Let's hit return to home on the controller and see what that does. So I'm holding that button, and it says return to home unavailable within 20 meters of the takeoff point. So I guess that's the other thing that's reminding me that I didn't explain to you, is that when we took off there, it recorded the home point. I'll point that out again the next time we take off. But if you're within 20 meters, the drone's just going to hover or give you the option to land the drone. Now, obviously you're going to want to be careful, right? You're going to want to know where it lands. So if you hit that land option, make sure it's not landing in the water or on some rocks or something like that. Well, let's go ahead then and let's fly it out further than 20 meters and see what happens. And you can see by our telemetry, we're 11 meters high. And let's fly it out. Let's go out here a ways. Let's fly it out to the middle of the park here and see what happens. I'm holding it in front of the camera now. The button with the H on it, the pause button, holding that down. And you see the drone turning around and heading back to us. And I could have done that on the app as well. You see it climbed to its 35-meter return to home height. And I'm going to manually, with the gimbal, I'm dropping the camera down as we go. I'm dropping that gimbal down so we're pointing the camera down. I'm just doing that so you can see where it's going to land. And it kicked the gimbal there when it came to a stop. But this drone has no pretense at precision landing, so it won't land exactly on the pad. If it does, it's just a stroke of luck. But you can look at the crosshatch I have there on the screen recorder. It's going to be pretty darn close. And the other thing that I'll point out to you is that it will pick up the camera at the right before it lands as well. So you'll see the camera pop up just as it comes down for a landing, and when that camera pops up just like that, it's in landing mode. Well, in this case, it doesn't see, it's looking at this concrete, I think, and it doesn't like it. It says unsuitable for landing. It may think it's over water or snow or something like that. So I'm going to click OK, and holding the controller up so you can see it, I'm going to pull the left stick straight down, and that'll put it in landing mode. There, it's in landing mode, and down it comes. The reality is, I'm going to tell you, only in certain circumstances are you going to let the drone completely land on return to home. Once it gets back to you, I would hit that pause button, and if you want to land more precisely, like on your landing pad in this case, just simply do that manually. Okay, let's take off again, and I'm going to show you how even when the drone, after it records its home point, you can change that home point to the controller. Now, why would you do that? Say you're out hiking or something, you take off in one location, you're still hiking, you don't want it to return to home, a mile back where you just were. You want it where you're at right now, and you can tell it that, yeah, you want it to land right where you are with the controller. So let's go ahead and take off again, and we're going to again hit that up button on the left-hand side of the screen. Hold that circle down. As soon as we let go, it takes off, and it's going to tell us that it recorded the home point. Yeah, home point updated, it says. and it told us how much the return to home altitude was at 35 meters. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and pick the drone up and let's fly it out there a ways. Let's fly it out over the park. And then I am going to grab the camera here and go to a different location, and we're going to show you how the drone, we can adjust the return to home location. Okay, pointing the action camera back to where our landing pad is, that's where we took off from. I walked over to just a little ways away with the controller here, and I'm going to show you how to change that landing location. So we're going to click on those three dots again, and in the safety menu, remember we talked about update home point. I'm going to click on that arrow that's pointed to the right, and then we've got a map, and if we want it to come back to the controller, I simply click controller and click OK, and you can see, well, you could see on the map there, home point updated, it said there, it told us it updated the home point. And you saw, I should have spoken faster or left it on that page faster, but you saw where on the map it showed a new home point. So again, let's hit return to home. And here it comes. I did that on the app that time. And you're going to see the drone, again, rise to its 35-meter return to home height. And well, let me drop that camera down so you can see what's going on. Point out to you that it sees where I'm at with the controller, and it's going to come down right here. I'm going to back up a little bit. So what I need to explain to you is that what it doesn't have is what they call dynamic home point. So you saw me move there, and the drone didn't change its home point. In other words, once it's going to be that where you're at with the controller at that moment. When you hit that button, that's where it's going to come down. And here is the drone. Let me see if I can get the camera on it for you. And it's coming in for a landing. Let's see if it picked up the camera. No, again, it doesn't like this concrete, so I'm going to drop that left stick straight down, and boom, down on the ground in landing mode. Yeah, it doesn't like because there's no contrast on this concrete. It's not sure if it's a good place to land. Okay, let's go back to our landing pad and take off again, and I'll show you another cool trick. Okay, we're going to take off again. This time, I'm going to show you how to do a manual takeoff rather than automated. Holding the controller up in front of the camera, both sticks down and in, and you'll see that started the motors on the drone. Then I'm going to push straight up on the left stick and accomplish the same thing. Tells us that home point is updated again, so we're good to go there. So we know that it's set the home point for where we took off here. Again, let's fly out over the field here, in between the trees there and up. Let's take the drone out there a ways. That was me dropping the camera down. And I'm going to show you how to reset the home point to a spot of your choice. So again, I'm going to go click on those three dots at the top. And if we look again at update home point, we've got the map again. So you can see where the pond is. You can see where the drone is. If I can move the home point, I can drag the home point with my hand here, or with the map. So in this case, I'm setting the home point out there in the grass. So you can see how I moved the home point there. And I'm going to click OK, and it's going to tell us that it updated the home point. See that on the screen? Okay, let's walk out there on the grass, and let's go check that out. Here's what I'm going to tell you about resetting that home point with the map. It's hard to be super accurate on it. So let's go ahead and hit return to home with the controller. And again, you'll see it rise to its 35-meter height. And I'm going to be kind of watching exactly where we come down so that I can maybe hopefully get to that point. And I'm just going to let it land in the grass. So yeah, it's a ways off from where I'm at here. We're going to chop a little grass, but that's okay. I can see the drone coming down, and hopefully I can get the camera in front of it here. Yeah, let me tilt the camera up and hopefully you can see it. There you go. Now why? Yeah, it's still descending, but it's descending very slowly. Now it's coming down a little faster. There's the drone. In fact, let me get closer yet. And it'll pick up the camera as it comes down and lands right there in the grass. So that's how you can reset your home point to a position of your choice. Okie dokie. Next, let's look at what happens if you lose connection with the drone. In other words, if you, say, flew the drone out of range, or for some reason your mobile device quit, or the controller ran out of battery or something, you still don't have to worry. The drone is going to come back to you. So let's demonstrate that right now. I'm going to hit automated takeoff on the app. Again, I'm going to tell you, look and make sure the drone has recorded its home point, and you can see there that it has. So again, let's fly it out over the field. And I thought about maybe simulating flying the drone out of range or something, but instead what we're going to do is we're going to just simply shut off the controller, and so you're not going to see much on the screen recording, because as soon as I shut off the recorder, it's just going to go blank, but you'll see the drone come back here. So in fact, I'm going to bring it closer to us so we don't have a long, just blank waiting time. But let's see, we're about 100 meters away. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the controller. I'm going to hold it in front of the camera right now so you can see it. I am going to turn off the controller. And you can see not connected to mobile device. So, so we've lost connection completely with the drone, but what it's going to do, it's going to fly back. In fact, it waits about 10 seconds, and then it's at the process of flying right back to us. So it'll be here in just a second. Okay, the drone is right directly above us. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on the camera. I'm kind of looking into the sun here. But yeah, it's coming down, and it's going to be, it's going to be fairly close to the landing pad. You should be able to see it now. And again, holding the controller up, you can see the controller is off, RC not connected, but the drone is coming home. It's pretty tough to lose your drone. I guess that's what I'm trying to tell you. And let's see here. It may decide that it can't land. No, it's going to land. Yeah. So it's going to go ahead and land. It knows it's not connected to anything. So there you have it. You don't need to be afraid of losing your drone. It's going to come home. Let me fire the controller back up here, and it'll reconnect here in a second. Okay, so we're reconnected here. I am going to now fly the drone out down on battery, and we're going to see a low battery return to home. And well, I'll show you that. Let's just go ahead and take off and I can show you those details here. So again, I'm going to do a manual takeoff, both sticks down and in, and up on the left stick. And there's the drone in the air. Let's just go straight forward here. And we'll go out over the park, dropping that camera down. And let's fly out to the corner of the park out here. The far corner of the park. We can see how far that is here. So, yeah, about, let's see, we're darn near 200 meters. So that's a ways away. So, yeah, we're in the corner here. I want to show you something. If you look at the top there, you see that 25% battery? See the green? That's how much safe area you have. So I'm going to touch on that, and you're going to see it's going to tell us how long until it'll go into return to home. In this case, 1 minute, 31 seconds. How long until it will do a forced landing, and then how long until the battery is completely depleted. So that gives you a good example. Let's continue flying it around here. Let's use up some of that battery power with the motors, and you'll see it go into return to home here in a second. So yeah, we're less than a minute away, and as I give it throttle, of course I'm coming closer to me, so it gives us more time. So let's go the other direction. Let's go away. And Ben, I noticed that number keeps changing. So there's an algorithm in the drone that tells it, you know, how much battery power, and you can see that numbers continue to change. Yeah, low battery, it's telling us, because it's below 20%. You'll get that tone and that return at 20%, but it won't go into return to home until it decides that it needs to come home. So let's just keep flying it around here. We're within a few seconds of that. And we're about 21 meters high. Yeah, any second now we're going to get that. Let's turn it the other way. Return to home promptly, it says. We'll get that. Yeah, now we got it. See that low battery return to home sign? So we're just going to let it count down, and I'd let go of the sticks, and you're going to see the drone go into return to home. See it point directly back to us. It'll rise to its 35-meter return to home height, and then it's coming on home. So again, that's a situation that I'm telling you, you're going to have to work really hard to lose your drone. It always wants to come home. Now, the way that you could lose your drone is to run into an object, a tree or something like that. But in this case, we've got the return to home height set higher than any obstacle. And you can see there's several young men that decided to play basketball right in front of where I'm at with the drone, but we're not flying over the top of them, so we're in good shape. But yeah, it's going to come down here. So you can see on the screen there that it looks like it's going to be right in front of the pad. Let me see if I can, as it gets lower, I'll point the camera up, and hopefully we'll be able to see that. Yeah, it's coming down. Yeah, you should be able to see it now. And it'll pick that camera up just like was said before there. It picked the camera up, and yeah, it'll land. It says landing. Boom, on the ground, about 2.5 feet or so off of the pad. Okie dokie, let me shut everything down and we can do a quick conclusion. One of the things that I want to tell you on this drone, make sure you remember to stop recording before you shut off the drone. Doing that right now. That'll keep you from getting a corrupted file. Hey, okay, so that's your guide to return to home with the DJI Mini 4K, or in my case, the Ron Mini 4K. I hope that helped you out a little bit. It's really, again, I've said it a million times and I'm going to say it again, your drone always wants to come home, and it's really tough to lose your drone. You got to work at it pretty hard. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying you're going to have to work at it because the drone always wants to come back. Things to pay attention to is obviously that it recorded that home point when it takes off, and make sure you set your return to home height above any obstacles that the drone may come across as it's coming home. But a lot of really good features, you know, being able to reset that return to home point and etc. is really cool. So anyway, I hope that helped you out. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video, and yeah, we'll have some more Mini 4 content coming up. See you guys later. Bye.